Diggerverted Man here. Not every video needs to be about everything. The purpose of my video is in my title. If you want to project what you think my video should be about rather than what it is about, then critique my video in light of it. That's your problem, not mine, says the Seeker's Tavern, who supposedly wanted to talk about worldviews with people. I guess he didn't want my worldview after all. There's no evidence. People said that in his comment section. So this video isn't about evidence. It's about interpretation. But he kept saying that historical evidence. So it's not about evidence, but it is about evidence. You asked a question in the name of your video title. Why atheists don't accept this? Because it's not even a thing. That's why. They don't accept the historical evidence because it's not historical evidence. But you don't want to hear that. You don't want to address that. You don't want to deal with all the problems that Christianity has because why would you? But that's not just his problem. It's all apologists' problem. And I say that, well, broadly speaking, I can't say all apologists, but all the apologists I know of. There's this endless shell game that they play. And they play it with themselves and others. Oopsie. And the shell game, you have 3 shells and you put an item in the shell and you go, hey, look, here's an item, and I'm going to put it in my hand here. Oh, and then I'm going to, move it out of the way and go, okay, well, which hand is it in? Is it in the left hand or the right hand? Oh, you picked the right hand? Nope, not there. Must have been in the left hand. Well, actually, it wasn't in either hand because the item is removed so that you can never win. You put it somewhere else. You endlessly move the shells around so that the goal is always moving. It's never where you thought it was, even when you think it's there. You go, okay, it's this hand or this hand. Which hand is it? Is it this hand? Oh, no, it's not. Oh, but well, why was I doing that with my finger? Oh, see, I wasn't. Oh, no, it's over here. It's over there. It's like, where was it? Just, come on. Stop playing this game. Stop dodging around. Did you really want to have a conversation with people and understand why they don't believe you? Or did you just want to put up a video? I don't know. But I've heard it before. Many apologists have done this before. Oh, you didn't understand. That's not what I meant. Or that's not the version of God I believe in. Or, you just don't get it. You're just missing the point. And there was a video that asked 5 questions for atheists in 2025. And I tried to cover it, but the questions were so malformed and so irrelevant to me. I just thought, I didn't feel like my energy was there, and just got rid of it, put it on, private, deleted the video, whatever I did with it. And I was like, maybe I'll try again later and just write out these questions and examine them because they're so bad. Just look at the questions, not even bother trying to answer them. I don't know. It's like, apologists really don't understand atheists, or is it just for show? Are they asking these questions for real or just pretending to ask these questions? I don't know. But every time it seems like we give answers, it's like they ignore them. And I've seen this, like Kit Hovind is a great example. He's been told how wrong he is about everything. And when he was being explained how things really work, he was like, oh, I'm being lectured to, and they call it, they can call it a hot dog, but that doesn't make it a dog, and saying stupid, idiotic things like this because he didn't want to learn what evolution really was because he's committed to the lie that he has proposed and stood by, that evolution is false his whole life. He doesn't know, he doesn't want to know anymore. He wants to keep switching around the problem. So other apologists seem to do this too, where no matter how intellectual they are, and sometimes they're very intellectual. I had an interaction with the guy that he seemed to really have a good grasp on formal logic, but not so much informal logic. He was obsessed his argument was valid. And it's like, yeah, your argument's valid, but that doesn't matter. It's not sound. The first premise was circular because his version of morality depended upon a supernatural thing in the first place, and then the conclusion ended with that supernatural thing. In other words, his premise had God in it, and his conclusion had God in it. And he had this weird idea about how circular arguments really work. And he was like, well, but my first premise doesn't do this weird thing. And it's like, that's not what a circular argument is. I have no idea what you're even talking about. He was too deep, too into it. I was listening to the apologists talk to each other, and they're like, I'm more convinced than ever. I was like, why? You're more convinced than ever before about your beliefs that are supported by nothing after interacting with many atheists over a period of time, that they've dug in so deep their heels, so to speak, in the beliefs that they hold that they're unable to see that maybe they could be wrong, and that they probably are. Atheism, just not believing in a thing God. It's very simple. It's not hard to do either, because there isn't evidence of God. And what God is, depends who you ask. And that's the problem. You have to ask people, humans, who can lie, humans who can be wrong. Hello, God. Hello. Nothing. Every time and any time you try to get God to respond to you, you're going to hear nothing at all. And if you did hear something, that might be something to be worried about, right? And you hear apologists challenged on these things, like William Lane Craig. He was challenged on like how you would know it God's morality is really weird and wacky, that God at one moment can tell you to kill people and that's perfectly fine, but a modern day woman who thought God told her to kill people, well, that wasn't God. Like William Lane Craig knows when God is telling people to kill people or not. Like, how do you know that? Like, there's a ultimate objective morality that says killing is wrong. Unless God tells you to kill, then it's perfectly fine to kill. It's like how this in-baked morality that you talk about, like I think slavery is really wrong no matter how you go about it. And there God is ordering commands of how to do slavery. And that's fine though, because, well, it was for that time period, and you know, whatever excuses, like just moving those shells around, whatever it is that takes to keep my beliefs alive. And the most telling is, at least for this guy that interacted, was about skepticism. He said that skepticism, this is the Seeker's Tavern, that skepticism doesn't lead to truth. And I said, how do you know that? He said, skepticism can only destroy lies by definition. I don't know what definition he's using. It does nothing to advance you towards truth. Okay, so you destroy lies. Let's say you have a thing that destroys lies. Okay, so X is true, whatever that is, and you're destroying all the other things that aren't X. Eventually, you're going to get to the truth, right? You just have to eliminate all the lies. And at the very least, at least you don't believe in lies. So you might not know what the truth is, but you certainly don't believe in a lie. That's better than nothing, right? You don't know what the answer is, but you do know what the answer isn't. And that's good. He says, never gets you towards the truth. You need faith and hope for that. No, you don't need faith for anything, and hope, who cares? Destroying lies is not seeking truth. No, destroying lies is seeking truth, because you're getting rid of things that aren't true. So there you go. But he doesn't understand skepticism, and I guess he doesn't want to. Again, like many other apologists. And what is the purpose of apologetics? Well, it's not to convince the skeptic, because you can't, because you don't have evidence. If you had evidence, we would believe you. The purpose of apologetics is to keep lying to people that believe and themselves in order to continue the belief. It is a meme. It is baked into the belief that you must keep believing it. Otherwise, the belief dies. And once it's gone, that's it. You don't get it back. And it's so weird, the number of apologists that think that belief is some sort of choice. Really? Great. Believe I'm a lobster. Can you do that? No? That's not a choice. You can't just believe something like that. You have to have evidence. If you have evidence, then guess what? It's not even belief, it's just, I know it's true. But you don't have evidence. The apologists just have shell games. That's all they'll ever have, as far as I can tell, because they've never presented empirical evidence, repeatable test, or a sound argument that I've found yet. But I keep looking. Meanwhile, the apologists keep on playing these shell games endlessly, because that's all they have. Whereas a skeptic, we're open to evidence. We're looking for evidence. We're honest in being potentially wrong. We're honest about what we don't know. We're honest that we don't understand the universe fully, and that mystery is interesting and amazing, but doesn't mean that there's a God, whatever God is, if God even is a thing at all, other than just an idea we humans came up with. God is very much a human idea, if you think about it. God is an exaggerated human, able to do things that a human can do, just at a bigger scale. God is the ultimate Superman. But to be God would be boring. You know everything. You could do anything. What challenge is there? There isn't a challenge. So the only thing you could do would be to play a game. Make something that you could then play with. And however you played with it, well, who cares? You're God. You get to decide what to do with it. But you're still a good or bad being depending on how you interact with the thing that you create. Even if you create it completely on your own, from nothing else other than your own power, that doesn't mean that you can do anything to it and not be held accountable by what you do to it, especially if you create something that can feel and think. And almost all living things can feel and think. Not all, but who knows? Maybe plants can think and feel at some level. I don't know. Probably not, but still, they're alive. And don't you value life or not? I don't know. The idea of God is certainly an interesting one, but believing that it's anything more than an idea, I just can't do it because I don't have evidence of it. The moment I do, that's the moment I believe. Meanwhile, the apologists, the best they can do, move those shells around. And as for the thing under the shell, it's not even there. In fact, it wasn't even there to begin with. And sometimes they don't even have shells at all. They just say stuff. And then when called upon it, they run away. They don't really want to interact. They don't really want to talk. They don't really want to learn. They just want to make stuff to get views and clicks, I guess. I don't know. Hey, look, I'm all for interaction with subs and likes and comments. I love that. But I want to do that because I want that interaction, genuinely. I've had conversations with theists. I've interviewed theists on this channel. I really want to do that. But many apologists run from that because they're not genuinely seeking to understand. And some of them, even though they say they're seeking to understand, are really just seeking to remain in their belief rather than challenge what they hold most dear. I don't know why. It's a weird quirk of humans that we are able to do that. Oh well, all I can do is encourage what I try to encourage, which is to be skeptical and also learn informal logic for the love of humanity. It will do you a world of good. Until next time, be skeptical, and after next time, stay skeptical. Don't forget to comment and stuff. Also, if you're wondering how I came back after I died last time, well, it was a miracle. Obviously. I mean, duh.